Ravenclaw Reads. I'm Courtney, and today you're joining me for checking out April new releases. It feels springy. I have my springy shirt on, and so I'm excited to start talking about some new books that might be coming out in April. I know that since the beginning of the year, I have been looking forward to some new releases, and a lot of them happen to come out in April. And so I wanted to go over the ones that I'm most excited about. It's just a few on the list. When I did a Google search or a Goodreads search, there was like 130 plus new books coming out in April, and everybody different style, but I am honing in on the ones that kind of caught my eyes, about 6 or 7 that I think will be really good, and I'm looking forward to them coming out. So let's get right into it. But before we do, don't forget to check out my other content if you're new to my channel. We'd love to have you join the community and subscribe. If you are a subscriber and you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. Consider joining a membership to get some extra perks on the channel, and shout out to my current members. I appreciate you. Okay, so let's talk about the first book that I want to read, and I think a lot of people are excited about this book because we all love Emily Henry. The first book is Great Big Beautiful Life. Again, it's by Emily Henry, and it comes out April 22nd. This book says, the synopsis says, 2 writers compete for the chance to tell the larger-than-life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists up her sleeve in this dazzling and sweeping new novel from Emily Henry. Alice Scott is an eternal optimist still dreaming of her big writing break. Hayden Anderson is a Pulitzer Prize-winning human thundercloud, and they're both on balmy little Crescent Island for the same reason, to write the biography of a woman no one has seen in years, or at least to meet with the octogenarian who claims to be the Margaret Ives. Tragic heiress, former tabloid princess, and daughter of one of the most storied and scandalous families of the 20th century. When Margaret invites them both for a 1-month trial period, after which she'll choose the person who'll tell her story, there are 3 things keeping Alice's head in the game. 1. Alice genuinely likes people, which means people usually like Alice, and she has a whole month to win the legendary woman over. 2, she's ready for this job and the chance to impress her perennially unimpressed family with a serious publication. And 3, Hayden Anderson, who should have no reason to be concerned about losing this book, is glowing at her in a shaken to the core way that suggests he sees her as competition. But the problem is Margaret is only giving each of them pieces of her story, pieces they can't swap to put together because of an ironclad NDA and an inconvenient yearning pulsing between them every time they're in the same room. And it's becoming abundantly clear that their story, just like the tale Margaret's spinning, could be a mystery, tragedy, or love ballad, depending on who's telling it. Oh my goodness, this looks so good. What I really like about this is that it's not only a love story, because it almost sounds like Beach Read, but it's not only that, it is the story of Margaret, our tabloid princess, that we're going to be piecing together as well. So that sounds pretty exciting. And I just love Emily Henry's writing. I like the story plots that she has, and it's just overall really good. So I'm excited about reading that one. And I know a lot of people are excited about reading that one. Currently, that book has about 600 reviews and it's already at a 4.27 on Goodreads, so I am highly anticipating that book. Okay, next up we have another amazing autobiography for me, and this is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This book comes out on April 1st, so we are very close to this one coming out. I imagine this will probably be on Book of the Month Club as well, because most of her books are, but I'll also definitely get a digital copy because, you know, I gotta have it on my Kindle. So this one says, there might be no such thing as a perfect guy, but Xavier Rush comes disastrously close. A gorgeous veterinarian giving Greek god vibes, all while cuddling a tiny kitten? Immediately yes. That is until Xavier opens his mouth and proves that even sculpted gods can say the absolute wrong thing, like really wrong. Of course, there's nothing Samantha loves more than proving an a-hole wrong. Unless, of course, he can admit he made a mistake. But after one incredible and seemingly endless date, possibly the best in living history, Samantha's forced to admit the truth, that her family is in crisis and any kind of relationship would be impossible. Samantha begs Xavier to forget her, to remember their night together as a perfect moment, as crushing as that may be. Only no amount of distance or time is nearly enough to forget that something is between them. And the only thing that's better than one single perfect memory is to make a life, and even a love, worth remembering. Oh, that sounds really cute. I think this sounds very much like the books Abby Jimenez has written in the past. I think the cover is super cute. Let's see if I can enlarge. Well, I'll have it here. I really like the guys that Abby Jimenez writes. I found in her books that she really writes really great guys, and book boyfriends, the guys that you're thinking about long after the book is over, and the girls tend to be a little bit more insufferable. So I'll see how this one works out. But this one has also been rated pretty high, about 4.52 stars, and it's got about 3,000 ratings. So I think this is going to be a smash. The next book I'm so excited about reading in April is Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is book 3 in the Powerless trilogy, and if you've been following along in this sort of world, you're excited. I love the characters in this book, and I love the overall concept of pretending like you have some type of powers, and if you don't have powers, you're out. And the story itself has been really good across the board. And when I think about the Powerless trilogy, I feel like Powerless and Fourth Wing came out around the same time, and in my opinion, the Powerless trilogy has really overtaken Fourth Wing because Fourth Wing has fallen off. But this book comes out April 8th, and the synopsis on Goodreads is pretty short because obviously we're in a trilogy. It is a fantasy book. We do not want to spoil it. But it says, Peyton Gray and Kai Azar return to the kingdom of Ilia, and Peyton has a life-altering choice to make. Whatever she decides will determine her fate, and the fate of those around her forever. In the ultimate battle of love and loyalty, who wins? So I'm super excited about that book as well. I need to go back and just check my notes because I love to just get a synopsis and a reread sort of the previous book because they come out like once a year, and so I read them so fast that I want to make sure that I remember everything going into this next book. Next up, I have Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. This is book 4 in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and this book comes out April 15th. Now, if you have been on my channel for a while, you know I'm not really a country cowboy kind of reader. Those are not my style of romance books, but there's something about this Rebel Blue Ranch series that has a hold on me. The first book I did not love, but second and third, top tier, and I'm really invested in this family and this little rebel ranch. So in this book, we are following Camille, and it says, Camille Ashwood has always loved a plan. Her latest was her best yet. She was going to get married so she could secure her daughter's future, get her overbearing parents off her back, and finally start building her own life in small town Meadowlark, Wyoming. Easy, right? But when her groom doesn't show up at the wedding, Cam's life is turned upside down. She doesn't even have a place to live. That is, until she finds out the house she's loved since high school is available to rent. There's only one problem, the neighbor. Dusty Tucker has spent nearly all of his adult life running. Running from what, though? More like who? Cam Ashwood. But ever since he returned home last year, the girl who was his first, well, everything, has become a woman seemingly determined to keep him at arm's length. And he was okay with that. At least that's what he kept telling himself. She was getting married after all. But now she's single and living next door. Dusty wants to show her that they can be friends and that he can stay put. Despite her best attempts to stay far away from Dusty Tucker, Cam realizes that being close to him is like slipping on her favorite jeans. Easy. Comfortable. That is until past wounds start to open feelings, both old and new. Nearly 10 years after they first met, Dusty and Cam begin to wonder if their first love could also be their last, and this time, will it be forever? I'm here for it. If you have been reading the series, you know all the interconnecting pieces and parts, and I think Cam was ready for her story. I'm excited to see Cam and Dusty together. They kind of got a little sneak peek in the last book, and so I'm here for it. Like I said, I don't read a lot of the sort of country romance books or cowboy romance. It's not really my thing, but this series has got me hooked, and so I'm excited for that to come out. Okay, the next book I want to read is The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. This is book 2 in the Perfect series. I recently read The Perfect Marriage in preparation for this book, and I thought it was like the weirdest concept, but basically in The Perfect Marriage, we find that husband and wife are kind of drifting apart from each other, but they're committed to staying together, and we find out that the husband is having a very deep affair with a woman, and she comes up dead. His wife is a lawyer, and so she's got to defend his innocence in this crime, and so she has to learn about all of the sordid details of this affair so that she can defend him and keep him out of jail. So this one is part 2, and it says, it's been 11 years since high-powered attorney Sarah Morgan defended her husband Adam against the charge of murdering his mistress. Sarah has long since moved on, starting a family with her new husband Bob Miller and changing careers. Her life is back to being exactly how she always wanted. Or is it? After discovering Bob engaged in a one-night stand, Sarah wastes no time filing for divorce. However, amid their ugly separation, new DNA evidence is uncovered in the case against Adam, forcing the police to reopen the investigation and putting Sarah right back in the spotlight. Everyone wants to know what really happened, most of all former Deputy Marcus Hudson, who is hell-bent on finding the truth. But when the woman Bob slept with is reported missing, he and Sarah start to fight dirty, and a high-stakes game of cat and mouse ensues. Filled with page-turning suspense and Geneva Rose's signature twists and turns, this book will have readers wondering, can Bob and Sarah achieve the perfect divorce, or will it be till death do us part? That one just sounds amazing. I think this one has 4.34 stars already on Goodreads of people who had e-arcs of it, and I think the thriller aspect and like the convoluted relationships of this whole idea is really good, and I'm looking forward to enjoying every last bit of it. Okay, now I have one last book that I am excited to read for now. I'm just giving you a short list. And that is Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is part of the Wicked Games series. This is book number 2. And this book comes out on April 8th. This is the follow-up to Phantasma. And it is a sort of spicy, romantic-y. The first one was sort of like carnival gamey. Okay, this one says, Genevieve Grimm has felt adrift ever since her sister became the head of the family. So when a mysterious friend of their mother's invites her to Italy, she accepts. She arrives at his grand palace, expecting passion and magic, decadence and luxury, perhaps even a midnight ball. She doesn't expect the owner's ruthless, handsome son to slam the door in her face. Rowan Silver is tall, dark, and exceptionally rude, and invitation or not, he demands Genevieve leave and never come back. But Genevieve follows nobody's orders, especially those of arrogant rich boys. She slips inside and immediately discovers her mistake. Rowan and his family are caught in an assiduous game of hide and seek where only one can win. The rest will be trapped in hell until the competition begins again. Genevieve must either join the hunt or forfeit any hope of escaping, but to her dismay, her best chance of survival lies with Rowan. Since lovers may play as a pair, Rowan and Genevieve agree to form an alliance under the guise of a fake courtship. However, as they race through the game's elaborate labyrinth, trapped among gleaming gold and shining marble, their loathing gives way to irresistible attraction, of course. Only Rowan is keeping secrets, especially when it comes to his ruthless family, and Genevieve can't help but wonder if she's trapped in 2 treacherous games. Okay, I'm so excited about this. So this whole idea of the Wicked Games series really is Wicked Games. The first one, like I said, is more of a carnival thing. This is more like a hide and seek sort of game, and the way it's written is so intriguing. It's so easy. If you're not a fantasy person, these are great books to get started in because the language is simple, the names are simple, you're able to like picture it in your head, and so I'm super excited about this book. I cannot wait for that to come out. So as I said in the beginning of the video, I'm so excited for April. I'm not only excited for the weather change, more sun, but I'm also ready for some new books to come out. So comment down below which books you're looking forward to. If I didn't mention it here, put it down in the comments so we can all check it out. And stay tuned for my weekly wrap-ups and vlogs throughout the month of April as I dive into these books and tell you more about them. As always, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.